Morgan Amplification has built quite the reputation for themselves over the years with their iconic amplifiers' looks and sounds. Getting your hands on one may cost you a little over $1,000, and when you get into their more higher end stuff, sometimes even $2,000 or more. But now luckily for us, the incredible people over at Neural DSP have created the Morgan Amps suite that will only cost you 99 euros or about 107 USD dollars. USD dollars? No, whatever, 107 American dollars. So in this video, I will go into everything in detail about this plugin. I'll talk about it, I'll demo some of its sounds, and then I'll give you my honest thoughts, and then hopefully by the end of it, you will know if this is right for you. So let's get right into it. So first, I'll just give you a quick layout and understanding of all the different amps and pedals and effects that are within the plugin. So we have 3 amps. The first one is the AC20. This is a single channel 20 watt amp that was inspired by those vintage Vox AC30s. We have on, off, and standby switches. Then we have a power, cut, and volume knobs. And then these switches will just give you more tonal options. So the AC20 will kind of give you very rich and thick tones at higher gain settings. Also, something I literally just figured out, you can change the color scheme of each of these amps by clicking the Morgan logo on the amp itself. So moving on to the PR12, this is also a single channel amp. This one is 12 watts and it's based on those vintage Fender Princeton reverb amps. So this will give you much more brighter and super clean tones, slight overdrives when you push it, but much more cleaner than the AC20. For this one, we have a dwell, reverb, bass, treble, and volume knobs. Now the PR12 has spring reverb built in, just like those Princeton reverb amps, and they also have bass, treble, and volume knobs. Now for the final amp, which is the one I think most people will like, is the SW50R. This is also a single channel, but it is 50 watts and it's based on a double clean channel. But it also has an addition of a tube-driven reverb tank. So we got reverb, the level, bass, mid, and treble, and volume knobs. Then we got more little switches to just give you more tonal options. Now this amp in particular is probably the best of the best for Morgan amps. This is kind of what you want. And when you crank this thing, it can give you that like stoner rock sound, grunge sound, perfect for that, but it can also clean up and give you that light gain tones as well. Now I'll get into the pre-effects. We have 4 pedals. We have a compressor, an Overdrive 1, Overdrive 2, and then tremolo. So this compressor is very responsive. You kind of get different compression sounds when you switch to fast and slow. Then you just have compression level and a mix knob. And honestly, from all of the other Neural DSP plugins I've played, this compressor I actually kind of like the best. Then we got an Overdrive 1, which just kind of give you some mid-range bite. And obviously you can crank it to get some really driving tones. But then the Overdrive 2, that's what it's kind of mainly for, to give you much more higher gain. It's very responsive and it works very well, and it kind of pulls out the best tones from these amps. And then the tremolo is also inspired by those vintage US amplifiers that had tremolo within them. Now here is where we get into the cab sim and IR loader. Now the cab that they're using is the Morgan 112 speaker cab. It's an open back speaker cabinet with a Celestion cream back speaker. It'll give you a very good bass and mid response, and apparently it's considered one of the best 1x12 speaker cabinets currently on the market. But that's for you to decide, I guess. Now we can change different microphones that we want to use. We can also move these around. We can do that this way, or we can just grab the mic here as well. And we can do that for the second microphone that we choose. We can do phase, out of phase, in phase for both mics as well. And then real quick, I'll talk about up here. Input level, we have gate. We can turn that on and off. Transpose, I think that's like pitch, I think. We have input mode, mono or stereo. You need to dial in on your DAW in order for this to turn on. And then we have a bunch of menus of different presets that Neural DSP gives you. And then the artists of Neural DSP, they make their own presets as well. So you can pick from some of your favorite artists or whoever some of these people are that I don't know all of them. You could pick, they could have great presets and check them out. Now you can save presets as well. You can make your own. We have a doubler feature, which is, I use this all the time. And we have an output of our output signal. We also got a tuner, and then down here it says MIDI. I've never used this before. I am so bad with MIDI stuff. I need to learn, but you have this option. And then just like all other Neural DSP plugins, we have an EQ, which can also be really, really helpful if you're trying to dial in the proper tones. Let's say the amp, you dialed it in to the best of your abilities, but there's still little things you can tweak. This is why you have the EQ. And then we got the post effects. We have a delay and a reverb. This is inspired by 70s tape echo units. And obviously with some more modern features, you can do like ping pong mode, tempo synchronization and all that. And then for the reverb, it's just a pretty simple reverb. It can give you those ethereal soundscapes if you really want, but it can also be very subtle within your guitar tone. Got mix, pre-delay, and decay knobs. Then you have a high pass and low pass cut as well. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is jump into some of these preset sounds and show you what these sound like. So here are my final honest thoughts. If you love the Morgan Amp sound, then there is no doubt that you should get this. You can achieve that Morgan Amp sound 100% with this plugin. I think the tones and sounds from it are great, just like most of the other Neural DSP plugins. Now, it is a relatively simple plugin. It doesn't have all these crazy effects and little tricks up its sleeve like some of the other Neural DSP plugins do have. But if you're a simplistic player who likes that good old regular great guitar tone, this is totally for you. You can take the sound anywhere you go. It's great for recording. It's great for practicing. So if you like Morgan Amp sound and you don't want to spend that much money, definitely consider this. So let me know what you thought about this plugin down in the comments below, and thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.